what embodiment truly is and how we can bring it into our day-to-day life. So you might have heard of embodiment quite a lot, especially in the holistic circles, and you might have even joined some events and sessions with embodiment practices. However, how these circles understand embodiment is just part of the whole truth. So they talk about movement, they talk about being in the body, which is very important, but it's not what embodiment truly is. These movement practices that we often do is like, for example, to really like, for example, I'm going to use an example for you to illustrate this. So in order for us to embody living from love instead of from fear, it is not enough to only do a movement practice. However, it can be a perfect tool to get there. So what this could look like, the movement practice would be, all right, we are imagining fear is contraction, holding on to, clinging. And this is kind of like the movement embodiment, like how our physical body would react to this. It's like fear, we're crunching down, we're holding onto ourselves, onto others, we're clingy, we are contracting. Love being openness, an exhale, an allowing of reception, of receiving, opening up, expanding, letting go, right? Relax as well. And we can do this by practicing this movement to really signal our body, and that through our body then also our mind and our emotions, that we are safe to receive and then to act out of love. However, that acting out of love really is the true embodiment, and that's not something you can just achieve by practicing those movements or practicing these certain tools. It's something that we do when we see our body as a whole, and we combine our physical material body, our movements, so to say, is also like our actions, but also our mind, our thoughts, our words, what we speak, and our emotions. And that can be tough because often we consciously are already in a different state to our emotional state. So you might want to check out my video about what we want versus what we need. But this is exactly how this example now ties in, that often we might want to act out of love, but we still are in fear. And that is when the actual embodiment starts, by recognizing this. So it doesn't mean that you can't act out of love, it just means you have to face your fears. You might have to sit in the unknown, you have to sit in the discomfort of a fear, you might have to act despite being afraid. So this also talks a lot about courage, and courage coming from cœur, the French word for heart. So us staying in our heart and in that unconditional love doesn't mean that we don't experience fear, doesn't mean we don't experience discomfort, but it means we do it nevertheless, we do it anyway. And these are things that happen in the day-to-day, and they don't have anything to do with embodiment practices in a beautiful, safe ceremony or ritual. They actually have to do with the heart, real life. It has to do in a moment when you're overtired, you're super stressed, and you still act out of kindness and love towards your partner, even though you think in the moment you just want to kill them. This is the embodiment, that how you treat your neighbors, how you treat your environment. It's not how you only act in a beautiful, safe, held space. However, that safe, held space, the ritual, the movement practices in a ceremony, for example, they are beautiful tools to help you integrate that slowly into your day-to-day life. And by that, hopefully, you will also start to embody these things outside of those safe containers. So we need those safe containers to, first of all, access that and know how it feels to be open and receptive, know how it feels to be in love, know how it feels to stay in that trust, and know how it also feels to allow, when we have held safely, to allow fear to come up and still remain here, not distract ourselves, not to run away, not to fall back into an old pattern. This is also why integration is so important and crucial. I can't stretch this enough, and I say this in many of my in much of my work. Integration, especially in my trainings, I repeat this over and over again. We can do as many courses as we want. We can do like embodiment course after embodiment course. We can do cacao course after cacao course and still not really truly embody the lessons and the teachings, because we have not integrated them into our daily life. And this means because it's just our head that, oh, understood, scanned, great, I have the knowledge, done, next thing, next thing, next thing. But it has not sunken in. It's not in alignment yet with where our subconscious is, because we haven't done the inner work, we haven't looked at where we truly are. And often it's because we don't want to see where we truly are. Our head is so much further away, and it wants to be recognized, it wants to be further away as well, it wants to be bigger than it already is. And but actually what it is, when we do the inner work and we recognize our inner child, we are then bigger, we are stronger. But it doesn't look like this to our ego. Our ego wants to already have done this, so it rarely takes the time to actually sit with those unwanted parts, to sit with that little one that we are still, to sit with that part that is not yet integrated, that has not yet embodied that knowledge and teaching, because our ego wants to have done this all. Our ego wants already to be the master, and we see this a lot, where people want to already be the wise elder when they're actually still in their early years. They want to be a teacher when they actually still are the student, and we can be that simultaneously as well. But it's a good lesson to be humble and take time. It takes patience, and especially in our fast-paced world, it can be very hard, because we are now taught to distract ourselves and to also buy into that materialism, into the patriarchy and the capitalist society, where we have to buy the next course and the next and the next and the next, instead of just sitting with one thing, even sitting with one teaching, with one story, with one course, and sit with that over weeks, over months, over years, with one modality, not with cacao and yoga and mantra singing and somatic work. Sit with just cacao. Do just your yoga practice. Really start to embody these teachings, and then you continue to the next thing. And again, this taking back, this takes a lot, sitting with the fear of being not enough, sitting with fear of being unworthy, sitting with fear of missing out. When we really truly take the time to integrate, this is how we can then integrate the knowledge. This is then how we can practice what we have learned, practice what we preach, walking the talk, and therefore the knowledge that we have once learned, after we practice it and start to weave it into our lives, this becomes wisdom. So knowledge embodied, in my opinion, is wisdom, but not just embodied by, practicing beautiful forms with our movement and like doing a little dance practice, by truly embodying with your whole system, actually living and walking through your day-to-day life. That then becomes wisdom. And walking through a day-to-day life is, again, being humble and staying present, finding the magic in those unwanted scenarios and not just in the beautiful ceremony spaces. However, the beautiful ceremony spaces, again, great tools for you to find the magic, to truly open your eyes towards it, and to practice all those tools to be in the present moment, and then take that with you for after the ceremony. And open yourself up to all the beauty that surrounds you, moment to moment, in every aspect of your life, even in the work life that you experience, even in the drama that might go on in your family life. Try to remain present, not run away, and integrate what you have learned.